Welcome to Manifest, hosted by international evangelist, teacher, and author Perry Stone. Enjoy unique insight into prophetic and practical truth. It's time to feast on fresh manna, so get ready to be blessed and encouraged. And now, here is your host and teacher, Perry Stone.
We're standing here at Jerusalem Gates in the city of Jerusalem at a shop that has literally thousands of antiquities. These objects are not copies, they're authentic. They were found in excavations throughout the country, different parts of the country. And I want Shweki to come because in a moment, hey Shweki, now this is my buddy from, I call him my brother from another mother.
Yeah.
He lives here in Jerusalem, and years ago, he just was simply a young boy selling postcards and things on the street, and a Jewish man gave him a prophetic word that he would be a businessman one day, and now he owns several shops. But we wanted to come here and use this as a backdrop, not just to teach on archaeology and the Bible, but we're going to be showing you Bronze Age swords and spears, how they were made, weapons that were actually used in wars in the city. We're going to be showing you Phoenician glass and Roman glass. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about, which is one of my favorite subjects, coins. Now, you in America that collect coins, we have a lot of coin collectors. Since I was a kid, I've always loved coins. And one time I was with Gideon Shore, and I got to tell you, this is a funny story. And I said, Gideon, let me show you something. Here's a coin from 1896. And Gideon opened up his wallet. He says, Alexander the Great, 2,300 years ago. I'm like, okay, forget it. I'm not even in the contest, okay? But Shweki, if you'll step aside for a moment, we're going to get with you in just a minute. He's going to go over there to where some of the Iron Age tools are. I told you last week on Manifest that I was going to share with you an interesting story about a bowl. Now, I'm going to be very careful here because this is very rare and expensive, but I want you to see this. It's a bowl. It's made out of clay. It's baked, and it has Hebrew writing. And my Jewish guide who fluently reads and speaks Hebrew, born in Israel, said this is very difficult to read because not just the shape of the letters, but they all run together. It's not like a sentence today. Now, I want to tell you about this bowl because several of these bowls have been found. This one, according to the Israeli Museum, and this is in Shweki's personal collection, it's not for sale or anything of that nature, but he has this. This bowl had to deal with curses. Let's say it came out of the area of Iraq, but let's say centuries ago, people were trying to place demonic curses on a person. And there are people into sorcery, familiar spirits, and witchcraft that would try to do that. Well, what they would do is they would write a prayer on the inside of this bowl. Now, this is really odd, but think about this. They write a prayer on the inside of this bowl, and then they would bury it in the ground upside down. This is one of the theories. And they would pray the prayer and call that demonic curse off of them, and any spirit connected with them would go in the bowl. Now, let me just say this. We know from both the Old and the New Testament that this was somebody's theory and was not biblical, because if we could cast devils in bowls, I'd have 1,000 bowls, in the ministry, and we just put them in bowls, or if we could seal them up. But it is a very ancient relic, historic relic, probably goes back, I say ancient, it could go back to the 6th century AD, something of that nature. But it's interesting that this would be something that people, they understood demons, they understood curses, and they wanted to have those curses removed. So this was something that the mystics came up with to do that. Although we know, again, according to the Bible, that Christ has all authority over all demons and devils through the power of His name. And when unclean spirits leave, Jesus said, they go through dry places seeking rest and find none. They try to come back to that person. But if that person's body, house, soul, and spirit, Jesus compared the human body there in Luke to a house. If it's swept and garnished and not filled, that spirit can come back and bring 7 other spirits more wicked than himself. But if that person follows the Lord and trusts Him, they don't have to worry about it. An example is in Mark chapter 5, when the man of Gadara was delivered from demon spirits there in the Galilee, and the demons came into the pigs, 2,000 swine, and they were drowned. You know the story, how the man began to follow Jesus, and he became an evangelist and won a lot of people to the Lord. So this is the shop. These vessels back here, right directly behind me, he was telling me some of those go to 3,200 to 3,500 years of age. Sometimes they're chipped or they're broken, and they have I don't know what you call these individuals, but they're just masters at what they do. And they can put it back together again so detailed, if they find the pieces, so detailed that you can't even see the crack. Now, what I want to do is I want to come over here to this area right here, and I'm going to come kind of and stand behind here, Shweki, and we're going to talk about this for just a moment. Now, all of this goes back to what's called the Iron
Age, Bronze Age, all kind of all this ancient.
Okay, let's hold this up. Now, this is just the head of a spear, right?
Yeah.
Now, can you tell, like, for example, if I were to hold this one up here, and let me see if I can just kind of face that way. Now you can see those are, the one in this hand, which is my right hand, is very rough, rough edges. This one is a little bit more clean. Can you tell sometimes the age by what? The length, the shape? How would you be able to date it in your opinion?
It's by the shape of the piece. Look how this one, it's a little bit
smoother, really.
Smoother,
better
and
made.
Yes, better. And this one, the shape of it is look like older,
Well, this one looks like almost in the forge it was done rough.
Yeah.
This one looks like, so would you say this one is older, just based on the not just the condition, but the shape and how it was made? Because see, now this one here, you can really tell. This
is like, it's a middle bronze.
Yeah, this almost looks like a little bit more simple, a little bit more primitive, that type of thing. So there's that. Now, I want to show you this because I thought this was interesting. This is this a spear?
Yes.
Let's hold this up.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Just hold that up and explain that a little bit, what that is.
This one, it's an very old piece also, and it's found here in Israel.
So would a soldier have had that at one time from that doesn't look like a Roman period though. Is it earlier than Roman?
Yes, it is.
Because I know there were different empires. There were Greeks that were here.
Greeks and Romans and
even before that time. So, but if you could feel this is really, really heavy. So the wooden shaft was here. So you look, when you see that coming at you, you're going to run
of course.
or pray, maybe both.
Yeah.
All right.
And there's some oil lamps over here. There's oil lamps.
Yeah, I want to show you the oil lamps. Now, were these from churches maybe that were in the Holy Land?
Yeah, there's some.
All right, let me see if I can hold this up.
There's some Byzantine.
Well, let me say this one's not as heavy. Let me hold this up. All right, this is a Byzantine, which is 3rd, 5th century AD.
Yes.
And when you say Byzantine, here's what the Byzantines were. They were from Byzantium, which was in the area of Turkey, which is that right today? They came out of that area. And what they did, they came to the Holy Land, and everywhere that they knew that Jesus had been, like if it was in, you can find what they call Byzantine churches. They're now in ruins, and they're excavated. And when they excavate the churches, a lot of times they will find these objects that are used to burn incense. They burn incense, so they were carried. Anyone with, for example, a Catholic background or Orthodox background may understand how the priest brings the incense in. And I know in the Church of Bethlehem they do that. There's 3 churches.
And also in the Old City, in the Holy Sepulchre Church.
That's right, the Holy Sepulchre Church. So you'll see the incense, and it's a very sweet smell, very beautiful smell, and it fills it up. So the Byzantines did this. Now, this looks like a ladle that maybe someone used for water.
It's used for for a soup, for a water. To get
like when you're cooking.
Yeah, when you cook, it's like
Do you have any idea roughly what period that would be?
This one, I can tell it's about from time of Jesus. I can tell.
About the Roman period. Okay. Now here is also, and I guess this would date back to. Let me see what we got. Oh, look here, look here. These are arrowheads. Can you all see this? Let me hold these up. Which camera am I on the close-up? Right here? Look at this. These are arrowheads. And, I guess, Shweki, the thing when I stand here and look at this, and before I make a comment, this is a cross. You think that's Byzantine or later, maybe? Earlier?
No, it's a Byzantine.
That's a Byzantine cross. And someone wore that. You can tell it was a necklace, all right? And then one of the interesting things, too, is this was a shovel.
Shovel, yeah.
And, I would never say that's what this is under any conditions, but I do have one of these, and I know that the shovels were used, let's say, in some of the ancient temple rites
Yes.
for to shovel the incense,
Yes.
to clean the ashes, and all that type of thing. So that is a very, very interesting piece. Now, we looked at the Iron Age,
Yes.
some of the metals. This is glass, but some of this is very old and very rich. Go through this with us and tell us a little bit about Roman glass.
This is our it's a Venetian, piece. It's a very unique piece. Look at it here, over here.
Now explain who the Phoenicians were. They were some of the first glass makers, right?
Yes.
In the Holy Land.
Yeah.
Now, are all of their pieces, because I've seen some before, do they always have the paintings and the beautiful art on
Yes, they have almost the same shape, the same kind of.
But that's a lot larger than most of them
This
I've
is the
seen.
most larger piece I ever seen, Venetian. Mostly they are smaller sizes, like,
Yeah, I've seen those. Now, what do you think that may have been used for?
This one, it has been used like for maybe perfumes or for like,
Maybe even olive oil? Would that be possible?
Maybe.
I don't think you'd use that for cooking or in a
No,
kitchen.
no. This is not for cooking. Because this is a very.
Would that have been a very wealthy person's piece maybe years ago?
Yeah.
Now show us some of this. Now Roman glass is very popular.
Those like as a tears. This is like for the tears. You can see this piece. They use this for the tears. For here, 2 pieces over here.
They collected tears. I know that they collected tears in cotton when you would cry.
Yeah, when
they
you
would
cry
collect
and
it and squeeze it,
and
then they would seal it off with wax or something.
And this is used here when a Roman period when the soldiers goes for the war, and when he comes back, his wife, she was crying. She showed him how much was crying inside of it. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. All right, now these are just vessels of different types.
Yeah.
But let me ask you something. How rare is it? Let me just pick up one. Now this goes back to the Roman time. They call this patina.
Patina,
okay?
yes.
How rare is it? I just get nervous holding this. I have to be very careful.
It's okay.
How rare is it to find a piece totally intact?
It's always different to find the pieces like in good shape, but you can't find them. It's like broken. When they find them broken, they can make the jewelry. But this piece has
they do make jewelry out of broken.
Of Roman glass. But those pieces has found in a good shape, and it's like you see it. And some of them find a little bit broken from kind of pieces from right or left. They're fixing it if it's small.
Yeah.
But if it's big broke, they don't fix it.
Now, was most of this found here?
Yes.
This almost looks like a candle holder.
Yes,
Would that
it
be
is.
a candle holder?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. And this little piece here is very fragile. I picked it up.
It's also very.
I decided
it's okay. No
I'm letting
problem.
you handle it.
This piece, it has like a face. It's been like used for wealthy people. They want to use something with faces.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
it does have a face.
Yes,
Oh, did you not
it has
just
a
now
face.
notice that? Look at this.
It has a face
Can we get
on
a
it.
close up of that right there? This is, and it's kind. Is it a greenish color originally?
Yes, yes.
So they knew how to do it. There's
And when
there's a
it
real
has different
face?
colors,
Two faces.
like unique colors, it's been used for like wealthy people. When they have it, it's unique pieces. When it has some of the pieces.
Yeah.
It has like darker colors. It's been different.
Well, I did notice you have
Yes.
blue.
Yes.
You have a green.
Yeah.
You have that's a different type of blue, a light blue.
Yes.
That's kind of a brown.
Yeah.
That's here we have two colors that
Yes.
are green, same time. Now, I'm going to show you something here because I want to read this from a book, if I can. This is actually a book called Biblical Guide to Coins, 3rd edition by David Hendon. And when we read a book, we do want to recognize the author of the book we're reading. Now, this book was printed, and I want to share something with you here that I thought is probably very fascinating as it relates to archaeology. Now, remember, we're talking about archaeology in the Bible. These are things, a lot of what you see dates back to what's called the Roman period. It can date back to, let's say, 50 years before Christ, the time of Christ, which is up to 32, 33 AD, the time of the apostles, which would be 1st century. A lot of the jugs and jars and Roman glass, oil lamps, things of that nature, date back to that period. So when I stand here, the reason I like to come by a shop and just, if nothing else, look, is because I realize somebody handled this. This was in somebody's home. Someone cried in that tear bottle. Those spears were used in a battle. And I've often said if the spears, for example, or the spearheads or the swords that are even here in this store, if they could speak, what story would they tell of the battle of the Israelites, of the battle with the Assyrians, of the battle with the Philistines? I saw, in fact, I own one, a Philistine sword.
And every piece, it has a story, it has a meaning,
That's exactly right. So it's not like you're looking at something that somebody just made and brought it to your house that you bought at, Walmart, for example.
Yeah, of course.
And I guess I stand here and I say, okay, what home was that in? Who lit that oil lamp? And that's just me. It fascinates me. Now, what I want to read is, you read in the Bible about the shekel, and a shekel was a unit of measurement, especially as it relates to silver, or it would relate to gold. And here's Genesis chapter 24, verse 22. The man took a gold ring of half a shekel weight and 2 bracelets for her hand and 10 shekels of the weight of gold. And of course, this is when they're bringing the gifts to a future bride. And here's another one. I bought the field that was in Anathoth of Hanamel, my uncle's son, and weighed him the money, even 17 shekels of silver, and subscribed the deed. So they used to weigh it. But I'm going to show you a picture in this book, which is kind of a hieroglyphic of an Egyptian weighing. This is a large scale, and we've seen these large scales, and they have an animal here and they have weights here. So in the beginning, when you would purchase an animal, you would do it based on the weight. You would pay according to the weight. Now, here's what I want to quote from this author. In ancient times as today, there were apparently a significant number of scoundrels who figured they could cheat in business transactions by keeping 2 sets of weights, a light and a heavy, in their bags, one for selling and one for buying. So in other words, if they were selling something, they would change the weight. If they were buying something, they would change it. All right? Now, I want to read some scriptures because this comes into play with the coins. We're going to show you some very old coins. One is extremely famous. Here's what it says. You shall not have in thy bag diverse weights, a great and a small, Deuteronomy 25 and 13. God, in fact, without going into all these verses, God really rebuked ancient Israel in the area of business if they were to have what's called an unjust weight or an unjust balance. You hear people talk about justice, meaning something is fair for this person, but not fair for that one, because they use a different measurement when they judge the person. That's where all of that comes into the idea is from Scripture. Now, Shweki, come over here, and I'm just going to tell you, he is the master here. Now, this is, and there are different types of these. I'm going to show you a coin that is probably the most famous coin in the world. And I think you'd agree with me.
Yes, of course.
What is this called?
This is called the poor widow's mite.
And the widow's mite?
Yes.
And it actually is a Roman coin, but you can see it has like a star shape on the front. And when you see these are the widow's mites. Now, I'll share something with you. It's very rare when you look at coins in archaeology and coins that have been found in the Holy Land. It's very rare to find them in just perfect condition, especially if they were used, and also if they are bronze and are buried in the ground. They have on them what's called the patina. The patina is the green that's on the coin. And you can see here that these coins have sort of a patina on them, okay? And that is the example. And so
this
there is
the certificate of
there
widow's
is
mite.
Widow's mite of Mark 12:41. Jesus said, and I'm glad you brought this because I wanted to quote the scripture. I tell you the truth, this poor widow has put more in the treasury than all others, for all of them have contributed out of their abundance, but she out of her poverty, she has put in everything she had, all that she had to live on. So when the woman gave at the temple, and of course, these are in little silver bezels. Just eliminate that. She gave 2 of these right here, a very small bronze coin. Now, we're going to run out of time here, so I want to show you this. There are some coins that are very interesting historically. Now, in the Bible, Daniel, there was a man by the name of Alexander the Great. It didn't name him in the Bible. It gave the symbolism of his empire. But we know that in Daniel 7 and 8, it mentions the Grecian Empire, and this is a coin that actually is an authentic coin of Alexander the Great. You see his face on it there. You see that on the back, all right? And there are several of those here, but and look at this one. This is like, the condition of that's pretty amazing. And again, these are coins that date back to that time frame, and all of these, again, happen prophetic history as it was taking place. These coins are from those particular time frames. Now, this is extremely interesting. And all I want you to do, Shweki, very quickly, I have about 2 minutes,
Yes.
is I want to hold it and tell me what this coin is, because these are two very famous coins.
Yeah, this is a silver shekel. That's Israeli silver shekel, what you pay tax for the temple.
Temple tax
yes,
shekel.
temple tax shekel.
And this would have gone back to the time of when the temple existed, the time of Jesus,
and this
right?
is also the certificate of
Okay.
tell you about.
All right. Jewish silver shekel, the Jewish war. Now, these coins, now this is interesting, date back to 66 to 70 AD. Remember that the temple was destroyed in the year 70 AD. So these would have been coins. You know, it's really, really amazing. Jerusalem, the holy staff, and 3 pomegranate buds are on it. Very rare and unique. And so that is that particular coin. So in other words, when you paid your tax at the temple, there was a particular coin that you would use. The widow's mite, of course, as we know, was used at the temple back in Christ's time as well. So there are so many.
Also, this one is the Bar Kokhba. This is also very
yeah,
unique
now this,
coins.
let me hold this one. If
This
you've heard of the Bar
second
Kokhba
Jewish
revolt.
bronze.
We did a teaching on that, okay? This dates back to 132 to 135, what we call BC. It has a 7-branch palm tree with 2 bunches of dates and the Hebrew legend that goes across it. And so let me show you this, because
It is also.
and I'm sorry, I said Maccabees, not Maccabees. Bar Kokhba,
Yes, Bar Kokhba.
was the man that the Jewish people thought he was their Messiah, and that he was going to deliver Jerusalem, he was going to deliver the temple. And so let me get a close-up of that so you can see what that coin looks like. You see the Hebrew writing at the bottom of it. And so they minted coins believing, and what happened was the revolt was eventually squelched, and he was eventually slain. And so that's what happened with that particular person. So let me just say this real quick, that when you deal with ancient coins, especially, let me just warn you, if you come to Jerusalem and you're buying on the street or you're buying in a shop somewhere, probably they're fake, because you have to know the person that you're purchasing from. So I know, just be honest, he's my coin guy,
Yeah.
Shweki, because I trust him and it's authenticated and everything. But let me say this, because we're about out of time, that archaeology proves the Bible. Here's Alexander the Great, true historical figure. Here's a coin used at the temple. Some people say the Jewish temple didn't exist. It had to exist. Here's the coin, one of the coins that was used as a temple. And over here, look at this. Here's all of your pottery. Over here, you see pottery. You see the oil lamps. You see, as we shared with you earlier, the false gods of that day. Let me say something. Trust the Word. Trust the Bible. It is real. It is true. You can place confidence in it, okay? And let me just share with you, coming again from Jerusalem Gate Store in Jerusalem with my friend Shweki. But as we close out, I want you to be sure and check out the New Testament commentary that we have. It's going to be a great tool, resource tool for you. I'm in my private office at Voice of Evangelism, where I spent several years writing, intensive research and writing, going through literally tens of thousands of outlines and sermons that I had preached over the years, because I wanted to leave a legacy with men and women and young people. I knew that if those notes remained in cabinets and files and just in this building, who knows what would have happened to them. So I took the best of those notes and compiled them into something I'm ready to share with you right now. It's the Perry Stone Prophetic Hebraic New Testament. This is a 300,000 word commentary and a 1611 King James New Testament. We have a beautiful, it's actually a chestnut color, imitation leather cover. We have the best quality paper. There's 3 qualities of paper in a Bible. We use the best quality paper available. We also used 2 colors. We have a beautiful teal green and also black for the Bible text and much of the writing. And what we did was we have the King James translation of the Bible, the 1611, and then at the bottom we have the commentary on every verse in the Bible. Sometimes the verses are compacted together in a group, sometimes they're individual. And we also have at the end of every book of the New Testament what's called an in-depth. And here's the in-depth of 1 Thessalonians. I mean, it's just loaded. So it deals with Hebraic truth, it deals with prophetic information, and I'm going to tell you what you're going to really love. You're going to love the boxes and the commentary in the book of Revelation. And so here's what I need you to do. We have 7 major outreaches. I need you to help me this year. And if you will support the ministry with a donation of $95 or more, you can request the brand new Perry Stone Hebraic Prophetic New Testament. It is full of 300,000 word commentary, personal commentary, great Greek word studies, powerful information. You will come to a knowledge of the New Testament like you never have before. The offer number is BK018, BK018 for $95 or more. You can call 1-888-21-BREAD or send a check and request the Bible at Perry Stone, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320, or go online at perrystone.org. Now, I only have printed 75,000 copies of this Bible, so it's first come, first serve. We hope to hear from you, and I trust that you will enjoy the 300,000 word commentary in this brand new New Testament. Well, thank you for joining me today, and let me remind you that our New Testament commentary is not available in any bookstore in America. It is only available through our ministry, so contact the number perrystone.org or whatever you have to do to get your copy today. We want to share with you quickly, we're coming to Solid Rock Church in Lebanon, Ohio, Sunday, March the 12th, Pastor Darling Bishop's Church. Join me there at 10:30 and 7 Sunday, that's March the 12th. Then Grace World Outreach with Pastor Dave Garcia in Brooksville, Florida, one of our conferences, Friday through Sunday, March the 17th through the 19th. So those are some places that we're coming to. We got Warrior Fest 1, a Warrior Fest 2. Some of those are just about booked out, but you know, I want to say something to the glory of the Lord. I'm so happy that we can have these meetings for young people and bring them in literally by the thousands and have no registration fee and no cost to attend. Now, the only way we're able to do that is because God provided through a source to help us pay for our facilities, and because they're paid for and the equipment's paid for, the lights, the screens, everything is paid for, we don't have to charge a fee to pay the expenses. And I'm so glad that God, and I want to give God the glory for this, that when we built that beautiful Omega Center International, that He provided supernaturally, knowing that it was in my heart to be able to invite young people to some of these events that we have, you know, in the summer and also in the spring of the year. Because what I learned was that in some of the rural churches in America, and you got to remember, I was raised in a rural church. My father was a rural church pastor in several places in West Virginia and the coal fields of Virginia years ago. But the thing I learned was that a lot of the people do not have the income to you know, for registrations and getting their young people to a meeting and an event. And so it makes it difficult if they have 3 or 4 young people. And I just don't think that young people in our day and time need to be left out of anything that they want to be a part of. And I hope that churches will invest in children and invest in young people, because you're not investing in the future, you're investing right now. And if we don't win them to the Lord while they're young, if we don't reach them while they're children, they tell me about age 13 that a young person's mind is already made up in what they're going to believe as far as religion is concerned, if they don't believe or if they do believe. And so let's agree together that God will raise up a last day army for this end time outpouring. We've got to see a move of the Spirit of God in these last days. You can go to perrystone.org and you can get our full itinerary. You can order the Bible online, so please do so immediately. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
Perry Stone invites you to join him April 27th through 30th at Omega Center International in Cleveland, Tennessee for the 2017 Prophetic Summit. Come hear prophetic insight from Perry Stone, Jonathan Kahn, Bill Cloud, Joel Richardson, and Dwayne Miller as they discuss current events unfolding across the globe and other inside information in our closed-door session. For more information, go to perrystone.org. Don't miss the biggest prophecy conference of the year at the 2017 Prophetic Summit. We'll see you there.
Perry Stone invites you to join him for his 2017 Israel Tour. The dates are November 20th through the 29th with an optional visit to Petra in the country of Jordan. Call 1-888-321-3629 or visit perrystone.org for more information and how to register. Seating is limited, so call today.